dug down to 80 plus meters for an industrial-sized job involving the placement of hundreds of pounds of explosives. Someone says 1,000 pounds actually. Hundreds of pounds of explosives in 8 individual charges on very sturdy pipelines from a sparsely manned sailing boat. Such deep dives require special gases, special breathing equipment, special training, a decompression chamber for emergencies, and lots of well-trained people to maintain all that stuff. He concludes this is just more chaff thrown up to divert attention from Seymour Hersh's revelations that the U.S. military under the White House carried out the act.
The opponents, I can't see where they have any credibility whatsoever, other than the fact that they have become entertaining how ridiculous they are. But anyway, there'll be others out there. You know, they're not all going to react the way we do, and our understanding or listening to Hersh, they're going to say, oh, see, if they want to be on that side, you know, there are the diehards. But that whole thing is splitting. You know, our government, you know, the Democrats were 100% unanimous on anything. You know, the administration said no matter whether it was Biden or whatever, they had one message. But that is cracked, and this is the reason why this is a good thing to have this information come out and look so bad. At the same time, other things are happening. The Congress is waking up. There's a few progressives that are talking more. We had a little conference up in Washington, a little rally, and the sentiment is starting to change. And I think that always has to happen before policies get changed.
Yeah, I think so as well. I want to put up a couple of tweets that talk about this, and from a couple of people who know. Ronald Nixon's the first one. I finally had a chance to meet him in person. He mentioned Washington. I finally met him in person. I've been on his show a lot. He's such a great guy. But he has a great tweet. He says, breaking news. The CIA alleges that 5 random clowns in a sailboat penetrated the most highly patrolled body of water on Earth, drilled through concrete at incredible depths, and planted 1,000 kilograms of highly unstable C4 plastique, then remote detonated it with a pulsed sonar. In fact, it encapsulates this perfectly. And Caitlin Johnston, who also spoke at one of our conferences, she has a very good comment to remind us, if we can put that next one on. She says, remember kids, Cy Hersh's Nord Stream report is untrustworthy because it's unproven and relies on anonymous sources. And here she copies the New York Times piece where it keeps saying, U.S. officials say, unnamed officials, over and over again. But I would just say one final thing about this, Dr. Paul. I think 2 things are happening at once. I think, first of all, it's absurd, it's outrageous to claim nobody buys it who knows anything about anything. That's one thing. But I do think it's not without a purpose. And I would put forth that the purpose is simple. First of all, put Ukraine on notice that their patience is wearing thin in Washington. And here's my typical strategy. Put this next one up. This is from New York Times. They just basically say Biden's spokespeople. But that's what it is. And they report that Ukrainian officials are not always transparent with their American counterparts about their military operations. So they're angry. The U.S. government is angry about this, obviously. But the next one, here's a bill of particulars, what they've done without our permission. They did a strike on Russia's Saki air base. They did a truck bombing that destroyed part of the Kerch Strait Bridge. They did a drone strike at Russian military bases inside the Ukrainian border. And for the next one, they also killed Daria Dukina, an innocent civilian in Moscow, without U.S. permission. Now, on the one hand, the U.S. always says, hey, we don't tell Ukraine what to do and what not to do. Then all of a sudden, we're looking here in the New York Times and they're saying that the U.S. is angry because Ukraine is doing stuff we don't want them to do. We haven't given them permission to do. So I think this is a way of saying, be careful. We can easily pull this trigger. We can Noriega you any second by leaking another piece like this. So that's number 2. I think number 3, they're setting in motion an exit strategy. Bakhmut will fall very soon. It is the linchpin. Even Zelensky himself said Bakhmut is the linchpin to Ukrainian defense in that region. Bakhmut will fall. Even the head of the NATO said that it's going to fall. So there's an exit strategy there. And the third, I think, is to again kick Germany in the teeth, kick Scholz in the teeth, and keep the Europeans down. So as preposterous as the whole thing is, Dr. Paul, it does serve very important purpose for the Biden administration.
Yes, and what Zelensky has to face up to is his 100% total dependency and his positive attitude. All I have to do is call the speaker. You know, yeah, you got Nancy to run shit over there and say, yeah, we're going to do whatever. But so far, the Republican speaker isn't on the airplane. Yeah, and he has to be so naive to believe this, and that is a reason that eventually it will be a calamity. It'll stop. Right now, he can't give up and say, well, yeah, I guess we better be cautious and we better, you know, do such and such and cave in. But I think you sort of alluded to the fact that this thing will keep building and building, and he will be the one that will lose credibility. He is, you know, what is it? You know, for many years now, he collected a lot of money, and you know, the bankruptcy that we're going through is a help to us because we have problems here at home, and people are becoming aware of that because the voters in this country are starting to suffer. They start to understand that they're paying for this, and they see the foolishness of it all. So yes, I think Zelensky's days are numbered, and how it will come about, or whether he'll just say, well, maybe he'll wake up and say, you know, this is a fruitless cause, I've lost my support. Right now, I would say he's not there. He's probably still going to continue to do his I'm a victim, I need you, you have to do it. It's not for me, it's for NATO, it's for Europe, you know, this sort of thing. We're saving you and calling attention to the Russians are coming, and that's not going to happen. I think that people
And that's exactly what Saddam did during the Iran-Iraq War, remember? I'm saving you Americans from these evil Iranians. Oh, great, thanks, Saddam, thanks, here's the money. Next thing he's on the end of a rope, so that's how it works. Well, just before we move on, I just want to thank our sponsor for the program this month, and that is 4patriots.com, the number 4patriots.com. You'll sense a theme in a lot of the work that we do, which is that we're on the verge of World War III. Things are getting pretty nasty out there. People doing things that they have never done. They're poking They're poking at hornets' nests that they've never poked at before, and that should make us all worried and nervous. And the first thing that we should do, because there's not much we can do about world affairs, we can take care of family affairs. And taking care of family affairs includes making sure your family can eat in times of crisis. Not only a world-ending crisis, but a simple bad snowstorm. Not have one. And that's what the folks at PoorPatriots.com come in. They have great survival kits for just a couple of weeks, all the way through an entire year. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, easy to prepare, packed, made in the United States of America. U.S. veterans do receive part of their profits. You can enter Ron for a 10% discount on your first order and free shipping for all orders $97 and above. They arrive in very sturdy containers that you can put under your bed and put away for decades, and they remain tasty and good. PoorPatriots.com, enter Ron for your discount. Very good.
I want to bring up the subject of our national doctor, Dr. Fauci, and maybe Grant will get a chance to resolve that minor problem.
Yeah.
But the question I have about Fauci, he's been in the news, and Jim Jordan has done a pretty good job in exposing him. But he has done something that no other single doctor ever even came close to. He dominated medicine by fibbing and lying and distorting the truth, and put more money into investigation, got more involved in politics, and more undermined the scientific aspects of medicine. And now he's sort of caught, I don't think it's pretty close to saying he got caught in a bad lie, big lie. And Jim Jordan did a good job in exposing him on what happened and why they changed their minds at the last minute. But with these hearings going on, Fauci can't remember a lot now. All of a sudden he's forgetful. But so we're going to hear some more about this, because I think some of these hearings are going to continue for a while. It's going badly for him right now. But he's somebody that's gone away with too much. I mean, too much instruction. But it looks like he had to build a strong support for his position, and the support among his close allies at the CDC wasn't so strong, and he had to do a little finagling in order to get them to change their minds. Was it a political opinion where he was having his mind changed, or were they changing their mind because those doctors who switched and changed their opinion for the benefit of Fauci did it for their own self-interest and not for the interest of the government, not for the interest of the American people, and some truth about vaccines.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blockbuster. I think this was the first hearing on the origins of COVID committee. And Jordan, as you say, he's a firecracker. He really went after Fauci. Now, he had Robert Redfield, who was the CDC director at the time when it first came out. What's sort of becoming more and more exposed, and what may be the downfall of Fauci, is very simple, and that is that Fauci, as we know, offshored the gain-of-function research after Obama said this stuff is too dangerous, no can do, you got to end it, instead of having to go to China and do it. So he outsourced it there. And then when it seems like the virus leaked from the lab they were working on in China, it was funded by the United States government with Fauci's money. When it seemed like that happened, and people started saying, you know what, it looks like it's leaked from the lab. He leaked from the lab. He did everything he could to cover it up, because I think he knew he was in the hot seat for putting it there in the first place, where it didn't belong when he was told not to do it. So he's done everything to try to do this. And now it comes out in the Jordan hearing. He even sidelined the head of the CDC, Robert Redfield, who had been standing beside Fauci for a while and standing behind him. Now it looks like he's throwing Fauci under the bus, because it turns out that Fauci froze him out of everything when Redfield expressed a little bit of concern that this might be a lab origin problem.
Yes, and when he was being interrogated by Jordan, he couldn't remember names in the meetings and what he said in the phone call, and everybody was, you can't remember all that stuff. But I got to thinking that this is a pattern, and I think one thing that I have to try real hard not to ever do, because I have a medical background, but that doesn't make me knowledgeable about every disease, everything that goes on in medicine. It gives me a chance to look at it maybe more critically. But he's forgetful, and it could be just natural. But I keep thinking, but this has been going on a long time. If I'm not mistaken, a long time ago he supported the principle of natural immunity. And he changed it, and then he couldn't remember. Now he has something else. So I'm just wondering if this could be a medical problem that we're looking at. And of course, the political problem there is his goal of being the most famous doctor that ever lived. I think is a different story, but he is selectively forgetful when it might hurt his scenario, and it's a shame that our government, our country, and our system has allowed this to go on for so long. But this is the stuff that was predicted by the libertarian physicians that I knew way back, even in the 1950s. They warned about this, and that's why they said government should not be involved in medicine. It'll become political, and how could it get more political than this? And now we're looking at the process of the lockdown of CDC and all the rules that they had and all the vaccines that were pushed to people. There are articles now pushing and explaining that the probability is pretty strong that more people have died from the treatment than have ever died from the virus.
Yeah. Well, as you always said, science is all about discovery through trial and error. That means nobody has ever done science, despite what Fauci tried to say.
Yeah.
Now here's a little clip from an article that we read via Zero Hedge, and this is from the hearing that next one up, one after this one. Yeah. Here we go. Now this is Redfield, former director of CDC. He said there was an a priori decision that there's one point of view we're going to put out there, and anyone who doesn't agree with it is going to be sidelined, said Redfield. And as I say, I was only the CDC director, and I was sidelined. So here we have going against your principles, the scientific principles. And in fact, we have about 1 minute and 8 8 seconds that I've taken from the hearing where the red pill talks about how Fauci sidelined him for coming to quote wrong conclusions about the origin of the virus. If you play that first, I think, minute and 8 seconds of that second clip that we have, that says pretty much everything we need to say.
3 years ago, if you thought it came from the lab, if you raised that, you were called a nut job, you got censored on Twitter, you were blacklisted on Twitter, you were even called a crackpot by the very scientists who in late January sent emails to Dr. Fauci and said it came from the lab. They called you crackpot. Is that right, Dr. Redfield?
I think the most upsetting thing to me was the Baltimore Sun calling me a racist because I said this came from our Google.
Dr. Redfield, you ran the CDC and you were on the coronavirus task force, is that right?
Correct.
That was formed on January 29, 2020, is that right?
Correct.
2 days later, Dr. Fauci gets an email from Dr. Anderson which says what? Virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding.
Next day, I know, did he share that email with you, by the way, Dr. Redfield?
No.
As a member of the task force, as the head of CDC, did he share that email with you?
No.
Okay, next day, February 1st, Dr. Gary sends Dr. Fauci another email. That email says, I don't know how this happens in nature, but it would be easy to do in a lab. Did he share that email with you, Dr. Redfield?
No.
Did he show that email? No. So he's frozen out because he had the wrong opinions based on his scientific background about that. I think we're getting closer to the truth on this, Dr. Paul. The only danger is you're going to find a lot of people that are going to get bogged down into the quagmire of those evil Chinese did it. In fact, there's someone else that was evil behind this, and it was not the Chinese government in this particular instance.
Well, he didn't point it out, but this was the episode that prompted the two people that were excluded, and then they got converted and came back and voted with Fauci. And guess what? Their career was boosted with more money to spend at their will. You know, so there was money involved, and that is the reason why medicine should not be partners with the government. We don't want. We understood 1,000 years ago that you shouldn't take religious spiritual beliefs and combine with the government because the government dominates what the message should be. But that is true in anything that we do. If it's economics, then you get a deep state and they run it and you have corporatism. But in this case, if you do it with medicine, they become dominant and they get mixed up in profiteering and political power. And that is what's been going on for, especially gotten so much worse in these last 3 years. It has to be reversed, and it won't be reversed until we get even more of this. So that's why this committee work is so crucial.
Yeah, I hope Fauci's sweating. Well, we've been going on long on these two big stories, I think, but we do need to have a little quick update on a vote yesterday. If we can put this next one on. Now, the House voted on the Matt Gaetz resolution. It was a resolution on creating a power to withdraw troops from Syria. Now, that resolution did not pass. It was a vote of, as you can see here on the board, 103 yes, 103 voted get out of Syria, pull those 900 troops out, and 321 voted against it. And I think if you hadn't had a lot of experience in these kinds of resolutions, there's a risk of being downtrodden. But however, you've had a lot of experience in this exact thing. You and Dennis Kucinich did this, and you have a different take on this numbers here.
Yes, I think they're pretty darn good when you compare it to our votes when we tried to get people to wise up about the Middle Eastern war. Now, if we took a vote today on what we should have done, I think we'd be in a lot better shape about the Middle East. It took 10 and 20 years to wise up and get out. And they still debate the big issue. How do you leave? And of course, my answer about how do you get out of Afghanistan, places like that, don't go in the first place. So I think it's my comment that I read down not too bad. Because and as you refresh our memory about the resolutions we did quite a few, and we had several Democrats who came over and voted with us. But I think it's pretty good. But I think this is a reflection that there's more public support for this position than there was when we started this. And I think the momentum is there, and I think it's going to continue. And that's why I cautiously now consider the fact that maybe World War III, the old-fashioned World War II type, will not break out tomorrow because for two reasons. One, we're broken, and people are sick and tired of it, and they're getting poorer, and maybe we don't have the stomach for it, and maybe that's all wishful thinking. It's a possibility.
Absolutely. The one significant event on this around, I think, is that the progressive known as the Squad, they joined Matt Gaetz. They went across the aisle. I'm sure they have a lot in common with Matt Gaetz. They not only came across the aisle, they also released a letter urging a yes vote on this. So we might be seeing, I hate to be too optimistic, the beginning of a kind of right-left coalition against these wars that we saw a lot back when you were in Congress, and that would be a very welcome thing. We're going to close out by having an announcement, and it's a big one. It's a save-the-date announcement. Anyone who has ever gone to our conferences, I believe in my heart, has had a great time. We love visiting with people. People love visiting with each other. Well, we're putting together our program for this year, and the first date I will announce is June 3rd in Houston. We're going to go back to the beautiful hotel we were in last year in downtown Houston. So mark your calendar. We're going to hopefully get tickets on sale for that pretty soon. June 3rd in Houston, the first Ron Paul Institute conference of the year. Stay tuned. More details as they come.
Should I put that on my calendar?
Please do.
Yes, I will. I look forward to it.
Please do.
And also, it's a place that we can get to very easily. We will welcome people from whatever. It always surprises me at these conferences. We do get them from around the country, but right through times